I am Deacon Simon and welcome to Breakfast with the Deacons. We have an exciting show planned for you this morning, so call everyone to the sets because what we're going to talk about today is going to be very interesting. Today we have two guests. We have Mrs. Catherine Tadier, General Manager for Council.
Yep.
And we have Vicar for Communication, Father Christo.
Amen.
Now, it's going to be really exciting. All right? So welcome to Breakfast with the Deacons.
Thank you.
Welcome
Thank you.
again.
Great job.
So, CAMSEL, what does CAMSEL stand for? First thing.
Catholic Media Services Limited.
I always forget that.
Yes.
So it's good to get that
It's
out
not
there.
an acronym, really. It's just a group of words. So.
Good letters, yeah.
Yes.
So what is the responsibility of
Well,
CAMSEL?
I think everybody thinks CAMSEL, well, for those who know CAMSEL, you might affiliate it directly with Catholic News, right? We see the Catholic News as a publication that comes out of CAMSEL, but really CAMSEL is the communications arm for the church.
For the church.
So, of course, Catholic News being one of the mediums for communication, right? So we, report news, we say what's going on in the community. It's like a community paper. And then we have also the other platforms that we manage for His Grace and the Archdiocese at large, which would be the website, which is a resource website that is for the Archdiocese. So you can go on, you can find all information there regarding parishes, commissions, anything you need to know about Archdiocese. That is catholictt.org. And we have a website for Catholic News, which is Catholic News TT. And of course, there's an extension of the paper. And really, our biggest drive would be to start growing followers, readership, and,
Get the message out, basically, the good news.
Correct.
Remember, the mission of the church is to spread the good news to the poor. From Luke chapter 12, I think it says, we need to go out. So I think our job at Council is to promote the mission of the church and the archdiocese, the voice of the mission, the bishop, at all means necessary. As Catherine was saying, there's a whole new social media milieu, and we are struggling, print and digital, and also to build a relationship with secular media. So it's a communication arm to promote the message, and the message of the Pope, message of the church, message of the archdiocese, and the mission. So we have a big job in that sense because you have to tie back the archdiocesan vision, which is to bring reconciliation with self and other and creation, at the same time to be the new evangelist culture of Catholic ethos and regenerating values. So we have to take whatever the church is saying, take whatever the archdiocese is saying, and then take whatever the bishop is saying and communicate it all means necessary in and out of secular world.
In the Catholic News, and other means.
And other means, not
necessary.
only apparently Catholics don't read the Catholic News as we wish. So we have to get people where they are. And that's the strive and the struggle now is wherever people are, we have to be creating new ways of being church to them. Otherwise, you're going to lose them. There are almost 25 million people on the internet, social media, and they are being church, and we have to find them, embrace them, engage them, and bring them to the brick and mortar.
Right.
That's a big thing, and one of the values that we want to enshrine, Catherine can tell you, is collaboration, because we're not wired to work together. It's real fine,
That's just
collaboration, communication, and communion. Those are some of the values that have to come out of the way we work. And we are struggling now because we have to bring all the parishes, all the stakeholders, all the commissions and departments to sit down to find out what is the real message now, to make sure the good news, what it is, because people have different versions of the good news, and they're holding their stuff very privately. And communicate because, Corinthians tell us we have to build a body.
Yes.
And the gospel tells us, go and preach to the ends of the earth. So Matthew and Luke challenges us, especially to the poor. And then it means coming together to do that. So there's a challenge for collaboration, for communion. Wow. And this is a real, to get people to come out of silos. It calls for a whole new spirit, a whole new way of being church. So it is not a new process. It's happened long, long ago. Since 1972,
right. But
Parasidia and all these papal documents had spoken about creating a plan to use all the media available. So Council is exciting with that.
So Council has been around for how long now?
When was CAMSEL started, Father?
Well,
I'm a newbie to CAMSEL. I
Council
started
about a few decades, I think. Not too.
Yeah, because it was Printing Media,
Archbishop
Printing
Gilbert.
Services Limited before.
Okay.
And it became CAMSEL in order to
Council
start
embraced
moving.
all the media services in the archdiocese under one roof now. So it involved electronic, social media, and digital, along with print. It was primarily print. You know, it started long ago at Holy Name Convent Grounds, which we celebrated 125 years.
And there's another anniversary coming up.
127, yeah.
127.
127?
Yes.
Oh, it's 127. Okay. So, what is the kind of feedback you get from people with regards since then about the Catholic news and the information that is being sent out?
Well, I mean, the Catholic News has long time been a community paper, right? So we have writers in house, and where we would, go out to functions going on, bring visibility to what the Archbishop is doing, hit on key topics, and then receive what is coming out of the parishes and integrate it into a paper. Now, looking at the paper, we see a lot of what's happening in church. But going forward, the new vision for what we need to be doing as Catholic News is not bringing just what's happening in church, but bringing all the values that we were speaking about and really sort of sharing with the community at large the Catholic ethos and in lifestyle stories and lifestyle content. Because a lot of people of our Catholic community are not in church. Right. And we want to reach them. Yes. Right now the paper is primarily sold in church, even though you can get it in Massey and all these other places. But the beef of the sales come from the parishes. And we want to grow what's happening beyond the parish walls. So the content, therefore, has to now start attracting new readers. Right. And we're very open at this point in time for feedback from the wider community.
And so you're going to start a survey?
Because Catherine's moving towards this Caribbean reimagination. Because people are learning differently, and they're learning by stories and engagement. So reporting doesn't really work again. I went to a function, 3 people came, and they went this and that. They're talking about stories and engaging, and the time span, and the video, and the visuals. So it's a whole new way of being church, a whole new way of visioning, a whole new spirit, and a big paradigm shift. And that is what we are struggling. It's very exciting. So it's gifts and challenges, because we have the right resources, and then people have to shift away from print. Because they are doing everything else on the social media, and some of them don't even know that you could be church on the social media. Right. So it's a big paradigm shift, the scripture tells us, and we are co-responsible for that now. Because these are the gifts God has given us, and we have to use it. Otherwise, we'll be lost.
Definitely.
So it's a whole new reimagining of a Caribbean church.
It's like if you snooze, you lose.
The Caribbean bishops are on board with this,
right.
And Archbishop Jason is now pushing it in our archdiocese. So everybody has to be on board, and the whole thing about collaboration and communion and collaborating and coordinating is significant to create the kind of synergy, solidarity, and the stewardship. Because that's the impact of it. And that is not the AC's call, and that is not the Pope's call necessarily. That's Jesus' call. Right. That's the call of the church. The mission of any pastoral communication is to promote the good news and to preach the good news by all means necessary. Jesus used parables and stories. We have to use all the instruments available because our young people are digital natives and they are on there, and unless we lose them. So we have to capture them and engage them. It's not only posting and liking and posting a picture. It's engaging in a theology and a spirituality. Really exciting, but it calls for collaboration.
You know what you said there earlier, that phrase, getting everybody on board. That will be very difficult.
But we have started because Catherine has started team building, so we are meeting with all the departments. I must say we have made leaps and bounds. We have moved and have people around the table and getting the synergy in our heads to operate that we can't duplicate and we can't compete anymore.
Right.
And there's too much duplication of resources. Come together, get the message, and farm out how best we can get it. So every plan you have, whatever it is, if you're selling kurma, you must have a communication planner in that.
Right.
So whatever plan all the departments and parishes are doing, and then we will coordinate and form from a strategic level. So they'll come into us, get the care, get the training, get the formation, get some direction. So a lot of the parishes and the commissions have already started stuff. Their Facebook pages, their stuff, their newsletter and print. Now we coordinate everything. Now what are we saying? Is it consistent with the plan, with His grace, with the Pope, one, the message, and are the media being used well? Because you can't pump the same thing to the same people too many times.
Yeah.
So all that have been worked out, one day at a time, whatever. So to be effective.
You know what I saw one of my students doing? A young student. He started his own little thing at home, and he called it TT News and he put his name. and he's in his living room and everything,
Yeah.
and he has a little paper, and he says, today and so and so and so, water went so and so, and you'll be trying to get in contact with so and so.
Everybody
And he
is-
invites the little boys. So what was the problem that you had waiting by the bus stop? Plenty rainfall, it was flooded, and I couldn't get to school, and I was soaked. And he says, so there you have it, a young fellow, and I'm like, I'd ask him, you
That's so
serious?
lovely.
You know? So, we have to kind of encourage things like that where even the little ones, young people can get involved.
And even the survey that she's doing, she has started some focus groups.
Yeah.
So we are trying to inculcate a listening church before it was top down. So we're trying, that is what His Grace did with the pastoral plan.
Yeah.
He went to the ground everywhere and we listened.
How that went?
It worked very well with consultants, secular consultants. We got all the information in, and out of that came the 6 pillars.
Right.
Pastoral priorities: education, parish, youth,
Yeah,
so
that's
we know where the focus points were. We got pastoral statements, right? We have to communicate that now.
Yeah.
What we done, because what we have done. So that's our job now, to communicate this pastoral plan in all effective ways, bring everybody in together, collaborate in communion. And after that, we went into parish and education. So the parish renewal initiatives are the 3 H's.
Right.
Hymns, the music, hospitality,
Yeah,
and
big
homiletics.
thing, yeah.
3 big things. So we are working on renewing parish life, deepening. And then Catholic Board Education is doing on the stuff to the schools. And then you build a link with that. And then we're going to keep on moving because it is ongoing.
Right.
Because every communication plan needs research,
yes. And the
design,
survey.
Yeah.
implementation, and evaluation. And that's the process we are using for every kind of plan. So we have to do that.
Yeah.
See the research, what exists on the ground, all the departments, what tools you have, right? Design a pattern, a formula, how to get it out. Right now we're using some videos, we're using some engagements, we're hitting Facebook, we are doing print. Then implement it in a timely fashion and evaluate it. So if whatever job you're doing, if you're teaching, you have to do it too.
Right.
To communicate your plan. And that has to get into people's head. And that is our job now.
One of the things we're working on is we have a parish desk at Camsel, and she's in touch with all the parishes across the country, and we're trying to meet with all the persons in parishes who are communicators. So we have,
Right.
the people.
Oh,
they
yes.
actually have 8 parishes we've met with who have parish teams, media teams. So I mean, those are, I think,
Those are in charge of the Facebook. And
correct.
And it's so well. So we will empower them,
Yeah.
come and form them, give
Yeah.
them the vision and the mission and the formation and all the training. For they become arms of telling the story.
Yeah.
They become digital missionary disciples.
But
So we
Living
move-
Water has, I remember they have a communication.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
we
program
have a
that's
synergy there with
Right.
TCN also.
Yeah.
So we have to pull all the arms. That's what Camsel is really about. Bringing all the media supplies and services under one roof. Again, it's collaboration and communion, in which we are all about. We should be about. Because earlier in the 40s, the Protestantism took over the print. That's why we have Bibles. Now we're in a new milieu, and we have to be a new way of doing church and a new spirit. It's not only nuts and bolts, it's a whole new dynamic, creative, imaginative head we are building for everyone, because we have gone. There's no turning back.
Right now, right, all that is said and done. You have the plan and everything.
Before
How
we
will
move
we
on,
go?
do you mind if I just put a little pitch in right here with regards to people involved in parishes? Because we have met with parish media teams, and of course they have sort of a structure within their parish. You're
Right.
responsible for this. Some of them are doing great work. I mean, perhaps we've seen all their live streams
yes,
with
yes.
Masses online and stuff from
Okay,
Sandy
yes,
Grande Parish.
yes.
So we have teams
And
that are really
we have
ramped
so
up
much of
and
good
doing
feedback
things.
from even the diaspora, London, telling us, we just love your live masses.
Yeah.
So imagine we are spreading this world because a parish in Citrus has gone live.
So, but exactly that. So we want to, as we reach out to the various parishes, there are parishes who don't have teams per se. They might be just individual people involved
Yeah.
in the communications, like you said, the Facebook, on the newsletter, and so on. And so our next phase is really to meet with
And assist in
that
any
set
way.
of that group of people, those group of individuals, I should say, to do that. Because we've had workshops with the media teams. in collaboration with Trinity. So they would come in and teach in photography and videography,
Yes,
and our council team would teach different tools, and we want to extend that to the other individuals involved in the communications, because what we're doing is building up that network so that it goes two ways, so that we find out what is happening in all the parishes, and then we get good content, because it's not easy to take good pictures or to write good stories. I mean, and a lot of what we receive at Catholic News is coming out of parishes, so we want to try to empower people to produce quality work, so that we can share it.
You may seem afraid because you hear technology and nuts and bolts, and the older generation say not me, but it's not about technology. Pope Francis says clearly, the social media and the opportunities is about human interaction. So you don't necessarily have to be doing it, but you have to be using the power of it.
Okay.
So it's people are intermingling, and you have to be there with them. And the technology serves human interaction and community, and not for Facebook and technology and wired. Because the new generation is wired to this.
Now suppose now you have the masses coming on stream, and I've heard people say, you know what, I'll take in the mass on stream or on TV. I said, wait now, so you ain't going to mass in a parish, but I have it right here.
But it calls for catechesis now, as everything else.
Exactly.
There's a gift and a challenge.
Especially for young people, right?
Everything. Any new thing will have its gift, business, and its challenges. And those are some of the challenges we have. Do you want face-to-face, or you always want to be typing? And there's a value on each. I went to Muruga last night, 11:30, I have to come back, right? And I told them next time I'm coming, I'll be online, because it travels too much. It's 2 hours to go. So you have to know to what extent there's a face-to-face, and to what extent you cannot have online confession, and you cannot kiss iPad for the gospel. So you have to know where your limits are, boundaries.
And then receiving communion.
Yes, you can't have spiritual communion necessarily. So
you can't kiss the iPad?
For the gospel, because people use it. It's interesting because the pros and cons.
And I kiss it.
People have not come to church. When this girl died in the UK, they built a shrine online. Powerful. Because we who knew paper didn't do it. And they were lighting virtual candles to tell you how God will exist. I'm not sure he's going to come back on a donkey. So we have to be open, and as everything else, manage the challenges. Yin and yang. Everything has it. But you can't avoid it. It's on, and our people are, and we have to be a new way of being church in a new spirit. And especially collaboration and communion, of which we boast. We're a Eucharistic church.
Right.
So why everybody wants to compete and remain in silos? You're not living your spirituality.
And why people want to leave.
Right, because we have to find new ways of capturing their imagination and tell the story. They need a story 1 minute. Some of us preach for three hours and don't get it. So we have to find new ways of telling the story, imaginative, and a whole new way of being Caribbean church. And we're excited about it because the Caribbean School of Communication that we run in the Archdiocese every year is a great school in August, the first week of August. You can send your people. This is where the young people are empowered. This is how they want to be church. This is how they want to serve church. And the older ones too. I mean, you can remain print, that's fine, but we believe very soon it's going to dip.
Right.
Because all the media houses have gone online. And even if you have paper, subscribe online.
Yeah.
You're talking about the survey, the different ways they're going to do the survey. How do people send their replies?
Well,
the
survey is online. Primarily, of course. It's the easiest way to collate all the data, because hopefully we get a lot of response from people. So what we have done in this week's paper, and you'll see it again, the last weekend's paper, and you'll see it again this weekend, is you will see a QR code on the ad for the survey. It's I don't know if you are or not familiar, it's a little sort of black and white code, and there's a reader on your phone that if you put the phone over the code, it takes you straight to the survey online. So that's one way of doing it.
Deacon looks afraid, but
to make it quick for people who are
open for any ways, always necessary.
Of course, you can go on our Facebook page because it's pinned to the top of the page. So that way you can just go straight on Facebook and click the link. Right. It's at Facebook. It's Facebook/RCPOS. That's our Facebook. Or you could just look up, type in Catholic TT, and the page will come up in Facebook. And also on the website, which is Catholic News TT. So on the last day of the ad for the survey, we will put out a questionnaire in the actual paper, and there will be boxes in the parishes to collect.
So you're giving us feedback of how you want to see this good news preach to the poor in all the dynamic ways. What you want to read, what you don't read. You know, give us ideas.
Or what you like to see.
We want to
and that
become
sort of
a more listening church. We have not been, I believe. And that's what even the pastoral plan, the structure and the plan of it, has been going out and deliberating and being with the people and hearing and listening, bringing a voice back, filtering and creating a plan. Within that plan, there's a communication plan. And that's the secret. Because you have to communicate what you plan. As people say, I don't know what you're doing, I'm not sure why you're doing, I'm not on board. So that's our job too.
One of the, we had a focus group earlier this year, and I thought it was very interesting with some younger folks. And one of the things that really stayed with me when we spoke with them about their perception, they were all Catholics, and one of the things they said was Catholics are not proud to be Catholics. And the other thing they said was Catholics live a split lifestyle in church and out of church. And that really bothered me because that's not my experience of my faith, sorry. And my experience of my faith is hand in hand, life and faith. My faith is the lens through which I live.
Amen.
And they don't, so, I mean, of course that comes with encountering, you know, Christ, and then you can live that way, but they don't even see people living that way. So part of the, you know, reform of our communications is to ensure that we project that it is a lifestyle that we're living. We have to project the Catholic way of living.
Whatever you do is a prayer.
Know?
Everything you do, you are evangelist and witnessed it. And there's a disconnect. In church, I'm a different person. As soon as I step out, I'm a different person.
And I think even too, for many, many years, the content that is presented in the paper is heavily clergy and church related. And,
reporting.
You know, it's not even, you know, when you flip through, you might find if I'm not really sitting in the pews of the church, I might not be interested. And we really need to get beyond the pews because only 10 or 15% of our Catholics come to church. And we have a Catholic community out there who've grown up with Catholic values, who are craving for that encounter, who are craving for that message, and a big part of our job is to make sure we are getting to reach them in the content that they're going to be engaged in.
And we are building bridges too with paper. We're not going to abandon and abolish paper. It's going to remain. So a million people like to touch paper and feel it. And we have built relationships with our vendors. There are people out there, men and women, who labor for us. So we have started going out to each parish and having coordinated efforts to honor them and to empower them. So the paper is moving ahead, and the vendors, and there are communication specialists in each parish communication and commission department. We also want to empower. So it's multimedia, digital, and paper together. If the paper goes down, there's always digital and vice versa, because those are the two real arms, print and digital media. And a lot of people are learning, almost 25 million million people are wanting to be church, wanting to engage, and wanting to listen and hear the word online.
Right.
So you cannot be afraid. Do not be afraid. Acts tells us, Acts 2 I think, you have to preach the gospel in people's native language. This is no longer language of the tongue. This is digital language.
Right.
And it's not language different. It's video, it's imagination, it's images.
You could do a whole set of different things.
Good
things. And bad.
Good and bad.
Okay.
But we have to be there. We are responding to it.
Right.
It is not coming from the Archdiocese only. It's from the AEC and all the papal documents that came before. Even the Latin American bishops have endorsed it 25, 30 years ago.
Right.
Very interesting.
Just recently, I met someone, and she was telling me, oh, she in a church, you're all excited. I said, was a Catholic church? She said, no, we're a Catholic church. The Catholic church don't do anything for me. So she went to our next church and she said, it's all excited.
They are using the animation and maybe using some of the tools powerful. But we have to embrace everything, because they may have used it in print. Now is our opportunity to get on board.
But it goes even beyond print and digital in a sense, because, well, what we are trying to do together with the commissions is to think of imagine new ways of communicating. So one of the initiatives that we're working on right now, it may or may not pull off this year depending on approval from the school boards, but is having a project in the schools that is encouraging giving the students a social justice theme in accordance, well, whichever the theme is for the year, working together with the Social Justice Commission. Every year there's Social Justice Week, so we go with their theme and go into the schools and allow we've sort of crafted a template for a project that they can build out, contemplating that theme, see, judge, act, so that the students have to contemplate the theme, whether it's human dignity, what it means to you, judge, do all your research, and act to an action plan. But do it all, construct the whole project over digital media. So they have to now think, okay, I'm going to blog this, I'm going to post this on Instagram, this is going to be a video blog, and construct this entire...
And use all the means. So
and it's a competition,
so
as it
you're
were.
creating a Caribbean reimagination of the church amongst the young, because they have the tools in their hands.
Yes, they have it.
Yeah.
And if Mother Teresa was alive, I can hear her saying, she used to say, Christ has no hands but yours. He has no online presence but yours.
Right.
He has no Facebook account but yours. He has no blog but the one you create. Because that's where it is. And these young people have empowering tools. And they will love to do it and create videos and pics and, so that's and you're bringing in service and justice, which is the Catholic ethos, which ties back to the mission of the church, to regenerate values consistent with Catholic theology. So the whole mission of the church, mission of the Archdiocese, is what CAMSEL takes and communicate and provides empowering tools.
So how will you know that it's successful?
We have to evaluate.
How that you know
As
that
we just
you will
said,
be
the 4
making
arms
ground?
you have to use: research, design, implement, evaluate. And evaluation is what we do and listen. That is what we're doing the service for. So every time we do the 4 stages, every plan has the 4 stages. Researching, whatever exists. You have to design how we're going to do it. You have to implement it. You must do the feedback. And that's how we're going to monitor it. If you use that model, you'll always be a listening church, a feedback church. You may have to change midway. Too fast, too many, nothing but tools. But if you're not in the listening mode.
Yeah, I think too, right now with print, I mean, of course, we can count our circulation numbers and know sales, but deeper than that, I mean, people are loyal to the paper, they support the church, they buy for the mass page. It's hard for us to really gauge without a survey or some sort of direct feedback how they are reading the paper, what is really engaging them within the paper. So this is why we really want to ask people to take part in the survey. Now all these articles are going to be online. Well, not all, but there's select articles out of the paper that are now part of our digital platform, and we will continue to add more. In fact, we're ramping up a lot on the digital to add more content and more written content. So that way, and video and so on. And of course, you can gauge things online easier because there are metrics that you can do that. But at this stage, like Father said, it's really a very important stage for us to be listening, to know, yes, we have all the mission of the church and we know what the commissions all stand for. And a part of what we have to do is bring together but the delivery is very important.
And making them co-responsible.
The delivery is important.
And making them see it's a spiritual response to, and to manage that paradigm shift. It's a big shift.
Yes.
So I don't know if
we just have less than 2 minutes. So
what about the survey? We need to make sure we put up the link and the survey at the end.
And make sure that the plan is on. Get to your parish, get to your commission. The Archdiocese plan is going on. We have found out 2 things with the parish, which is doing the 3 H's, homiletics, hospitality and hymns, and the Catholic board is taking the school. So we have gone ahead with those 2 initiatives already. So I really want people to just get engaged. We'll be out in the parishes, listen on the secular media, listen on the talk shows on the mornings. His Grace will be going out talking about the plan to get everybody engaged. It's a universal plan.
So we just have a few more seconds. You just tell them what you want to...
No, thanks. I hope we put up the graphic for the survey.
Go to Catholic News, buy a Catholic News, and give us information.
Yes, or go on Facebook and you can see it. It's Facebook/RCPOS. Please complete the survey, and if anyone between the ages of 35 to 55 want to join a focus group to help us really get a little deeper in that, just the contact information is there, so you can reach out to us and please be part of this process. We are physically at opposite the cathedral. Right. We have a website and an exciting app. CAMSEL app. You can get all the homilies, all the masses.
The CAMSEL app, you get that?
Just go in, Google it,
to the Google Play Store and download the CAMSEL app.
Lots of great stuff. You get daily word, daily mass, daily reflection.
Okay.
Well, so talk to me after about that, because I had to get on that. People, the church is moving ahead.
Amen.
They haven't forgotten about you. The church is getting exciting. It's not about drums and trumpet and all that, but the word, the communication and getting with each other. So keep on listening, keep on reading the Catholic News. And this is Deacon Simon saying, be blessed.